And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token lefty, and together we review what's in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a human conversation when we don't agree. Because remember, political. No!
No, you fucked it
Remember
up.
to forget. Remember that common sense has no political affiliation.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn!
Wow.
Damn!
Once in a while, yeah. Goddamn,
Bro,
once in a while,
65,
it's okay.
66. I think this is the 66th episode, and I think I fucked it up twice. So it's twice in 2 weeks, though.
That's good. That's all right, though. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. How you doing today?
Good, but I think we really have to. I think we need to do kind of an intro, so I don't have to do this.
Just like a
because
intro.
Yeah, because I know who to talk to. Like I have my other show has a really professional intro, like extremely professional intro.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just record it once. Yeah, somebody did it for me. Oh yeah. I can do it myself, but it would take so much time compared to paying somebody to do it. So I'm good, man. You?
I'm doing good. Looks like got some decent, quite a bit to talk about today, but I'm pretty excited. If you guys are interested into the Canadian election, especially if you're Canadian, we're gonna do essentially an in-depth analysis. We're gonna go issue by issue, and we're just gonna say with each of the two major parties, and actually I guess we'll get in a little bit what the other ones say, but really it's conservatives versus liberals, and we're gonna get in to see just exactly where they stand. So if you're not sure how you're going to vote yet, then you definitely want to tune in and not miss this, because we're going to do a deep dive into pretty much every single issue that could possibly be important. So that's definitely exciting. But yeah, no, other than that, I'm good. It's what are we at? It's Thursday today. Fuck, all the days blend in together.
Yeah.
What how's the whole baby making process going? Well, it's already made, but now it's growing. The baby growing process, I should say.
You know, man, it's she's just over 6 months old. We're starting, they're having a how do you call it? Those little parties that women have to give gifts and all that.
Showers? Baby showers?
Yeah, so they're having a baby shower. We're starting to get some of the stuff. Like today we got the baby seat for the truck.
It's a slippery slope. That's socialism.
But yeah, like we got the baby, we got the new baby. It's not a booster seat, but the seat for the car.
Mm-hmm.
We got the crib. Yeah. We got the crib. We got the transport bed. Like we have all that. It's starting to come in. It's like
starting to dawn on you. Oh shit! There's actually another human being is going to live here soon.
But man, yesterday, because my son's already an ass. Like he takes after me, no questions about it. He's definitely my son already. He's not even out of the womb, but
yeah.
He's the type, like he's super active. You go to touch him and he stops. He's like, he knows. He's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm not your monkey. I'm not dancing for you. Buddy.
No, but yesterday we're in bed. You're about to fall asleep, and my wife is like, because she can't sleep on her back, right? So I bought her a massive pillow, like it's like a big noodle that you can form to whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So she's on her side and she's like, touch, come here, like give me your hand. And I think I was able to feel him move for 10 minutes straight.
Wow.
And it's not just those pokes, but as in
you almost see like a foot or a hand.
Exactly what you did there. I'm like,
it's cool, but also like
it's fucking creepy as shit. It's so creepy because it's like this, right? You're starting to like see. We're not seeing it yet. Like he's not stretching the skin yet.
Yeah.
But you can feel like his head. It's not just like a poke. It's really just like he's pivoting, and you can feel the body just.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's weird. Look, it's the miracle of childbirth, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's just for guys, I think it's a little weird, especially until the moment your child is born.
Yeah,
it hits home. But we talked about that I think before, and it really is like that. Obviously, women. they're carrying the baby in their bodies. They feel that strong.
It's a lot more real to them.
Yeah, it's very real to them. For us, it's just complaining wives and weird cravings. You have to run out in the middle of the night to go pick up pickles or whatever the fuck.
See, my wife has none.
None, eh? Yeah, pickles was my son's mother. She that was her thing. Pickles,
man.
Fucking like, man, I can't go get pickles at 2 a.m. I don't know what to tell you. Why don't you have any? Oh, Jesus. I'll have them tomorrow.
Why don't you have them in stock?
I promise you, I will have them tomorrow.
No, man, nothing at all. She doesn't have cravings. I can't see anything that she'd like sushi and stuff like that because she's a fan of sushi, but you can't eat raw. Like it's a dangerous thing to eat.
Yeah.
Fish. So she's very careful with that.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But she's not. I haven't seen any craving whatsoever, like weird fucking cravings. But my wife is not like she's not a gym rat like I am, but she's extremely like she's small. She eats extremely well all the time, and even now, I honestly believe she's 6 months pregnant. I think she's 12 pounds up from her regular weight. She normally is like 118.
Yep.
She's like 131, 132. So
I mean, that's pretty.
14 pounds. But it's all in the front, right?
Yeah,
it's like she gained a bit of weight. I mean, she's gonna hate me, but she's gained a bit of weight in the ass.
I mean, you're probably not complaining. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain. Women are so they really. I think they don't understand that. Yeah, like especially when it's your own wife, your own child. You don't give a shit about that. In fact,
but she's so self-conscious right now.
Yeah, of course. If they probably it feels so uncomfortable. They feel so big. Meanwhile, their boyfriend or husband is like, no, like I love you. I'm not just saying that, but it's
bought a dress. She bought her a dress yesterday. Super cool dress, like summer dress. That's all like it's really nice, and she gets to. It's cool because it's big at the bottom, so she get like even if it rode up where the stomach is, it's so long that it doesn't matter. It doesn't show. But she's like, do you like it? Because she's just like she's always been like this small, right? She's tiny, so tiny.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Now
a big
she's
thing.
bigger. Oh yeah, and she's not 20 either. She's like 37s, right? So it's not the same thing. Like if it happens when you're 20, you're like, okay, whatever.
Well, it's kind of like you probably notice your body takes a little longer to heal when you go work out, right? It's not the same as when we were 20, 21. You go out and do whatever, and now it is different as you get. I feel like around 35 is when that starts to change.
I just redid my workout yesterday because I used to be able to train each muscle once a week, but just push it.
Go hard, right?
But I was sore for a day or two, and then I'm done. Now, man, some of my workouts, I'm like sore for 4 or 5 days.
Especially legs, right? You're grabbing the railing, trying to go downstairs with your fucking noodle legs. Yeah, it's bad.
Now I had to redo my whole workout yesterday. I'm gonna split it on 5 days and just like do top bottom, but half the sets. Like I do it scientifically, so it's just I redid it. I reformed it all. Yesterday I did back, bicep. Barely sore. So
I do back and tricep just because bicep is a push. Like when you do back, you're gonna do a little bit of bicep anyways. If you're pulling it in. So I figured if I'm doing a minor bicep workout when I'm doing back, and I'll also do tricep, and then I reverse it when I'm doing chest, because a chest is also a mini tricep workout, and I'll do bicep then. So
see, I'd rather, but now that one doubles. Like it's
that's the other. Yeah. If you're already doing a minor bicep workout with your back, why not add just bicep and really hit it hard?
But what I mean is instead of like you do your 20 sets per muscle, like your 12 to 20 sets per muscle per week, but instead of doing it in one shot, you split it on two days of pull, push, and legs.
Yeah, that's the other one. Pull push is what I've just started to get into that as a way. I like it.
But normally I get super fucking sore, especially it's age, right? And I don't do steroids. I'm not on TRT. I'm like 100% natural. So I don't recuperate. Like I did TRT for like 6 months.
Yep.
Bro, I could probably train every body part 3-4 times a week. Like you recuperate so fucking fast when you have that TRT in your body, man.
I might be thinking about it, not now, but as I get a little older, like, you know how you're like at our age, man, that natural testosterone levels just starts to drop hard.
Oh yeah.
And it really does factor into a lot of things, not just recovery, but like, sex drive and all those things.
The way you feel,
sleep,
just everything.
The way you feel, you wake up and you're like, and it's like, I don't know, like I don't feel it necessary yet. I'm still young enough, but I think when I'm 50, 55, like I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way. I don't have to age like that, right? I can
I've done kids. I've done kids, because if
because it affects that, kids, right? It'll affect your fertility. Yeah.
When I did some, bro, my balls like
shrank the fuck up. Oh yeah. I mean, in my younger days, I did it too. Now I did it a little differently. I did it not necessarily as like TRT is like boosting your testosterone to get to where you would be naturally. Yeah. When I was younger, I was doing like actual cycles, like
see,
crushing it. Yeah.
I've never done cycles. Yeah. I was fighting either way. You're testing. No, actually,
that's right.
Sure you're not testing that shit, right. But in fighting, being 200 pounds like I am right now does not serve any fucking purpose.
Yeah, it's just more weight for you to move around.
Oh, you don't move the same. You're not able to move the same, but at the same time, man, having to be able to, just the TRT is something that will boost everything, but it's also bad for your testicles, because it's like steroids, right? The principle of your testicles is the same, that your body recognizes that there's
already enough
in your body, it will stop producing. So that's why I stopped.
And like any other part of your body, if you stop working, it's going to get smaller, it's going to shrink, right? Yeah.
So I had to inject myself 3 times a week, twice with testosterone and one for a counterpart to my testicles not to shrink.
Oh,
I'm like, hey, bro, I want to have kids. So, and you start looking.
What the name of that was? Have kids? Was it Clomid or HCG or something like that?
It's HCG.
HCG.
Yeah. But I was in the US. It's so much easier to get down there than it is in Canada.
I mean, like someone like RFK is clearly on TRT.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But like you can't look like that.
With it.
No.
You know what? Let's take some the 2 comments we got.
Jason is here to remind us. Jason's to remind us to remind you guys. Do not forget to smash that like button if you do like what you see here. If you like what you listen to, whether you're a new listener or one of our faithful ones, if you feel like this is a good show that has a place out there like we do, then please like and share it. That's most what you can do. But also, be sure to comment on it, because again, this show is meant to be live. The reason we do it live is to interact with you guys. The show lives or dies by our audience engagement, and we're always going so all you got to do is engage with us, and we will put you up here like Nicole here. She says Canadians never agreed. I think what's Nicole talking about here? Probably the head topic here, the main topic.
The question of the day. Yeah, that's probably what she's referring to.
China wants Canada. I mean, Nicole, can you maybe if you could just clarify a little bit specifically what you mean that we didn't agree on? But as you can see, for everyone else, we're always going to take everyone's comments. That's what makes this show great. We are trying to build a community here, not just a podcast. So that's the best thing you can do is engage with us. And thanks for that reminder, Jason.
And I want to thank someone on X called Chris Erickson.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. He always shares this pod. Yeah.
But I thanked him yesterday. Like I reached out to him. We're gonna have him on because that's right up his alley. So I'm just setting up to see. He just agreed to do it.
That's great.
Setting up the time, but I just want to thank Chris Erickson because him sharing, like he has about 100,000 followers. So when you have accounts like that reshare the stream, you see it right away. But at the same time, it's not because you don't have 100,000 followers that you shouldn't reshare this stream. So if you're on X right now, you like what we do, you like what we stand for, share the stream. This is how you help us out, right? Because the more we have something special here, and we know it. Like as cocky as this sounds, we do have something.
I think most of our regulars would agree with this too. And by all means, it isn't us. It isn't me and Nico. That
no, it's the whole thing.
It's you. It's you guys. It's everybody. Yeah.
And having a guy like having a guy like Killer Betts that arguably has one of the biggest Canadian podcasts out there.
Yeah, on
our show and then to tell us that he wants us to be on his show, which I've already been before as a single person, like a couple of weeks ago.
Now we'll go as a couple. You went as a single guy. Now you're bringing your significant other.
But the funny part is that you'd be the bitch in that relationship.
No, brother. I'm the top. You're the Frenchie. I'm the top. You're Nicole on the weekend.
Yeah, but Nicole's about 40 pounds bigger than you.
Hey, I'm
Nicole.
Nicole. Look me in the eyes.
So, questions for the people out there. The question of the day is simple. Should Canada align with China or with the US? This is a subject of the day, as much as we really need to do an in-depth analysis of the platforms. But the reason I thought this was interesting, and I wanted us to talk about this first, and it doesn't need to last very long, but this is just showing you the divide right now in Canada. Like, having China's ambassador to Canada approach us to say we need to align against the US blows my mind. It literally blows my mind. Like, if there's anybody out there, any Canadian out there that believes that there's no Chinese interference in Canada's election, like, what the fuck else do you need? You literally have a guy, the ambassador of China to Canada, is asking us to align with them against the US. It blew my mind when I saw that this morning. There's no videos out there yet. There's no videos yet when I check, but there's articles that I want to share right now. But this is why I'm bringing this up, is, to me, and this is why the question of the day, right? Should we align with Canada, or should Canada align with the US or with China? Because to me, no question. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm a big US supporter. Like, they're our biggest allies. We need to figure out how to make it work. Now, do I agree with all the tariffs and shit? No, I don't. Do I agree with a lot of shit that Trump does? No, I don't. But at the same time, it would be extremely stupid of us to believe that we don't have the greatest partnership probably in the world. Like, we are so codependent, and especially us towards them. We're very dependent on them. And that fucking elbow crap, elbows up. I'm starting to wonder if elbow up is not just a movement to try to shift our partnership from the US to Canada. And this is what I was thinking when I was reading this article this morning. I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Is that when so now I'm looking, elbows up, elbows up. Are you telling me that you support China over?
Well, yeah, I mean,
blows my mind.
The whole point of elbows up was supposed to be some, pro-nationalist, pro-Canadian move, like saying, okay, we're being, unfairly targeted by a foreign country, so we're gonna band together because rah go Canada, fuck yeah. But if you're then going to immediately say, but yeah, let's align with China in the next sentence, it kind of takes that completely away. Now that said, just the fact that the Chinese ambassador approached us, I mean, I really don't think most Canadians would agree with that. I do not think most Canadians, regardless of where they stand politically, would think that we should align more with China than the US. And if they do, then they're fucking nuts. They are fucking insane if they actually believe that. I think we're actually kind of going to be at a crossroads here in Canada. And I think there's going to be, especially if Carney wins, I think we're going to have a much, I think most people, if you ask them that question, it'll be an obvious no, we should not. I think there's going to be another question coming that might be a little more convincing or persuadable of more Canadians, and that's, should we align with Europe or the EU over America? I could see that coming up, and in that one too,
same fucking thing. There's no
in that one too. I don't think we should. I think we, like you said, I think we need to recognize that the relationship we have with America is special. Yes, by geography, of course, but also by history, shared history. We have fought in wars. We have died. When I was in Afghanistan, we went on missions, operations toe to toe, or not toe to toe, side by side with American soldiers. Our military is literally designed to insert into theirs. You know what I mean? It's down to the way our society is structured is designed to fit in with America. Now, you might not like that. You might not agree with everything America does, and that's perfectly fine. I don't either. But it's just like you don't agree with everything your brother or your sister or your family says, but they are, at the end of the day, they're still your family. And I think that we're making a grave mistake for our own national interest if we turn our backs on America. Now, that said, America also has to show that they value this relationship as well, and I think they will. I think what we're feeling right now, seeing right now, I think it's a blip. I do not, I think our relationship goes much deeper than Donald Trump or any single politician. So, I mean, to answer the question today, absolutely, I do not think we should align with China. But even if the question comes up, should it be Europe or America, which I think would be more palatable to some Canadians, I still think it should be a no.
I'm right there with you. Like, this is I just posted a video yesterday when I was on Nick Kumalato's podcast down in North Carolina a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if you give me a choice between another 4, 8, or 10 years of liberal party or liberal government, or you tell me that we need to become American, I would much rather become American than go under another 4 to 10 years of liberal. That's how I feel, Yeah. Agree, disagree, that's fine. No problem.
I mean, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's because you look at Carney and his speech is very much aligned with let's stop partnering with the US. Let's partner with the EU and South Asia, emerging Asia. And I'm like, bro, just say China. Can you just say, but can you just say China? Like, stop fucking lying.
Yeah.
No, but stop, we're not stupid. Like, maybe the people that are voting for you are, I don't want to call them stupid, but they're extremely naive or they don't realize what's going on. But there's a reason why he's saying South Asia and not China.
China, yeah.
So don't give me this shit, right? And but I like how they're all the way. We should become as self-reliant as possible. Of course. Nowhere in no way, shape, or form am I saying that we should be solely dependent on the US. That is not what I'm saying. But to tell yourself that we are not dependent on the US right now and we have a way out of that relationship, you're full of shit. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Maybe in the long run, 5-10 years from now, we can do everything we can to be more self-reliant. Any country should do that. The US is doing it right now. So there's nothing bad about this. On the contrary, it's fucking smart business.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that there's no dependency and we have the leverage in that relationship, fuck off. Clearly you have no idea what you're talking about. So I wanted to bring this up. There's not much that came out of it yet. I got to feel it might not, because it might get buried because people don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Toronto Sun posted about this yesterday. And there's a couple of things I wanted to highlight that absolutely fucking blew my mind. And it is right here. So the Chinese ambassador, let's try, where's his name here? So basically here's the main caption, and it's not just the Toronto Sun. If you find other articles, they're all pretty much saying the title is pretty much all the same. But basically what they're saying is that China says it wants to partner with Canada to push back against American bullying. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, that is that the way they're calling them bullies when, hey, fuck off, China, you've been taking advantage of that free trade agreement for 30-40 years now, and now that somebody's finally calling you up on it, they're a bully. Okay, fuck off. You built your whole economy on the back of the US. So no, they're not bullies. If technically somebody's a bully, it would be them, because you've been fucking them up the ass for 30-40 years. So don't give me this shit, right?
Well, and sorry, finish your thought.
No, but I just want to point out there's a couple of things. There's a couple of quotes there that really is messed up, if you ask me. Basically, the reason that the ambassador Wang Ding is saying this to Canadian is that we want to avoid the situation where humanity is brought back to a world of the law of the jungle again.
I mean, I don't know that China. I don't know that China's
a communist country that oppresses its people is telling us that we shouldn't go back to the law of the jungle. If your country is the representation of the law of the jungle, I want nothing to do with it. If it is the opposite of the law of the jungle, I want to go back to the law of the jungle.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Where do you fit? I want the complete opposite of what you're saying. And he's also saying that China is Canada's opportunity, not Canada's threat. You know what? It is an opportunity. It would be a fucking dumb one to take, but technically it is an opportunity. But here, hold on, I think it was here. There you go. Concrete and real countermeasures against the unjustified U.S. tariffs. This is why we should join them. What is unjustified about you putting tariffs on every single product that they make, that they try to bring into your country, yet you had none on yours for 30, 40 years? What's unjust about this? Like, can we, I'm just so tired of them pandering to the bullshit. Let's be honest here. Trump's trying to get you to the table. He just released a video just saying that again, that he hopes that he can get the leader of the communist country of China to come to the table to renegotiate. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, I think that I mean, when you hear language like, bullying and stuff like that's not really stuff that applies to geopolitics. Every country has their own interests and they're going to act in them. And if China is clearly acting in their interests, or what they perceive as that, America's acting in theirs, and Canada has to act in ours as well. I do not believe that it's our interests to closely align with America with China at the expense of America. Remember, we've talked before. China they're very smart. They've got a long-term plan and they are executing on it. And it seems to be more and more clear that one part of this plan is to use Canada as a sort of a linchpin, as a way to get at the United States, right? Sort of like, and to be fair, and this is why, like, it's not about being like, oh, well, they did it first. Sort of like the way America has used Taiwan, right? Essentially, they've taken a piece of China and said, these guys are with us. You fuck with them, you fuck with us. That's what China, I think, wants to do with us. But that would be, I think we don't want to get in the middle of essentially two global superpowers in what appears to be the beginning of the new Cold War. I think we'd be much better served with our traditional allies rather than the Chinese, because they see us as tools. They will use us for sure. They will use us to further their interests, and there might be some benefits for us to that. But I think we'd be very wise to really think very hard about if that is in our interests, because if America has someone on their doorstep that they feel they can't trust, they have lots of ways of fucking shit up for us.
I would go even further. Yesterday, I think it was Jason or you that said that, it was Jason, that we have used Ukraine as a way to go to war with Russia.
Proxy war, basically. Yeah,
exactly. I see no difference in what China is trying to do with us.
But we'll be
against
the
U.S.
We'll be the cannon
we'd be Ukraine.
Yes, we'll be Ukraine, right? And who wants
exactly?
That? And who wants that?
And when you think about it, it's actually clever, because they don't need to supply us weapons. They don't need to supply us with anything outside of just dangling like, hey, elbows up, bitches. Elbows up, bitches. Let's go to war with the tyrant that is Donald Trump, and forget that it's 10 years of liberal policies that has destroyed our economy, not a man that's been in power for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
This whole thing is such a mess, but it does make it look, if you're smart enough to back away from this conversation or your emotions from that conversation and look at it, it really looks like China's trying to use us in a proxy war against the US, just like the US has used Ukraine against Russia.
And I think that's exactly what's happening. I think that's exactly what's going on. And how's that working out for Ukraine? Right? Is that who we want to be? Do we want to be Ukraine right now?
No.
Nope.
No, because there's no Americans, there's no world leaders that are going to support us either. So we're fucking done, and we're literally spitting in the face of our biggest ally by telling them to go fuck yourself. We'd rather deal with who you're perceiving as your enemy right now, and be their friend and not be yours. This is not a good spot for us to be in.
They would essentially, for that to even happen. And again, I this is all hypothetical. I'm sure this is, at least I believe this is not actually be considered by anyone seriously at any level of power. But hypothetically, I'm sure there would be some guarantee of safety by China. Like, oh, they won't fuck with you. But like, you'd have to accept that China would be willing to go into a nuclear war to protect us in Canada. And I would not trust that promise as far as you could throw it.
You cannot allow a nuclear war because dumbasses, if it blows in the US, it blows in our faces too.
Oh, absolutely.
But not only that, the only way that China would be able to fight the US is having boots in Canada. Is that what you want?
And that's not what you want either.
Because they're not leaving.
No.
Like, we cannot resist. There's no way we can fight away China or the US, no matter how you see it. If you're asking me, no matter how you sit, let's say that you want none of the other, and I don't want none of the above. I'd rather Canada be its own sovereign nation like it is right now under another ruler than the Liberals.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come down to it, which one would you like better? Would you like the American dick to fuck you, or would you like the Chinese dick to fuck you? I take the American one over the Chinese one any day of the week.
Well, yeah, and I don't even think we need to necessarily look at it like that. I think no,
but it's extreme. It's an extreme thing. Like, you can look at it from the most extreme view. Which one would you rather have as a friend? Americans or China?
Sure.
Which one? I believe in the First and Second Amendment, which is the basis of their constitution. China believes in communism, which goes against everything I believe in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. I agree.
Did you hear, by the way, that there was a shooting this morning at Pearson Airport?
I saw something that there was a bunch of cops and SWAT team or something. But what happened?
There's not a lot of information that's out yet, but it just seems that there was a shooting. Somebody got shot, or somebody fired a shot at Pearson. There's no information that came out. But one of the guys I follow wrote something that, goddamn, I agree with him 100%. He's saying that prediction: Mark Carney will use today's shooting at Pearson's International Airport to attack Pierre Poilievre, claiming more shootings will occur if the Conservative Party wins due to their push for, air quote, irresponsible U.S. gun laws, equating a vote for Pierre Poilievre to a vote for Trump. And you know what? How many times has the Democrat done that in the U.S. where there's a shooting and right away they're like, we need to go after your guns, but they never mention that all the shooters are on antidepressant drug, and most of them recently have all been trans. But let's not push that. And for YouTube purposes, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Guns are bad. Yeah. Trans are good. Don't worry about what I'm saying. But this is, I could see that happening where, because there's somebody that did something illegal, right away it's the fault of,
it's going to be used as political.
It's going to be my fault as a guy that legally owns firearms to be a danger to society. But let's see, like, by tomorrow we should have more information. We'll talk about it again. But I just thought it was interesting to bring it up just because it's everywhere on my X feed right now.
Yeah. Just speaking of just quick mentions of news. Did you hear the thing with Trump talking about the Ukraine war? He's actually calling out Vladimir Putin for deadly Russian strikes on Kyiv. He tweets, "Not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop!" just talking to him directly. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get the peace deal done, he said in a post in Truth Social. But it's interesting because I think there's some speculation that Trump is just going to be pro. He can't really negotiate this deal because he's too pro Russia, but clearly he just wants a peace deal.
To all the people out there that claim to understand what's going on there, you don't. As much as we talk about it day in, day out, and we have our opinions, I don't claim to understand what he's doing. But at the same time, a peace deal is extremely lucrative for the U.S. So, of course, he wants a peace deal. Is it a morality thing? Of course not. He doesn't give a fuck about what's going on there. At the end of the day, money, money, money. And he would like to have $175 billion back that they gave them. Ukraine can deliver. Mineral deal, bitches.
Yeah. But
that's all he's looking for.
It's also very lucrative for Ukraine as well.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. We're talking about a couple $1 trillion. Yeah. So, again, we've spoken about this. If you get half.
Yep. And now
He's
now
gonna
you've
need to rebuild his country. His
and
country
now
needs to be
you've
rebuilt.
basically got a security guarantee from America, because
Yep.
if America has got a
Oh, yeah.
couple $100 billion of infrastructure invested in the mining there, that's essentially the same as having a military base. They will protect.
Yep.
That is now American interests, and they will make sure that Russia doesn't fuck around.
We agree. Hey guys, by the way, before we move forward, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share this stream. If you like our show, I know there's a bunch of you watching right now. I got a feeling that a lot of you guys that are watching at the Poly Orphans on X are brand new listeners. So if you like what we're talking about, like this stream. If you like the show, make sure to share it and follow at the Poly Orphans to make sure that you're always aware when we're coming live. But we come live Monday to Friday, noon to 2-ish. It often goes to 2:30.
Often goes a little longer. And
2:45 2, but it starts at 12. Who knows when it finishes, but it's around 2.
Yeah, and if you are listening for the first time, the general format is I am a liberal, Nico is a conservative, but more than that, we're common sense people. We can find common ground where we can, and when we don't, we disagree disrespectfully. And it just seems like the reason we started the show is because we just didn't really see a space like that out there in the political landscape these days. It's just all about vitriol and you're the enemy, and so we're trying to create a different sort of a place. And if you think there's value in that, then please like and share.
And you know what? That's a great point, because the term is easy. The political orphans. I don't fit. The Conservative Party does not represent my values.
That's right.
The Liberal Party does not represent his.
Mm-hmm.
We don't agree on everything. There's a lot of things we disagree. Mostly we agree on the problematic, that there's a problem.
Yep.
But the solution is always
and that's
always different.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's a great spot to have the debate.
But that just goes to show that the left and the right do see the same type of problems. We just disagree on how we want to fix them. But right now, we're not even open to the conversation. We're not even open enough to say that, you know what? Yes, bro, we do see the same problems. We just don't know how to deal with it. And that's why if we create a space like the one we have right now, we can have those conversations and see where it goes. Right?
Absolutely. And also make sure you do comment if you have any questions for us, if you agree with what we're saying, or if you disagree with what you're saying. Chime in, and we will we'll engage with you live on air. That's what the whole show's about.
In-depth election platform analysis. This is, now that we have the China, Canada out of the way.
Yeah.
This is what we really wanted to talk about today, is really the platforms came out on Tuesday. So a couple of days ago, gave us time to actually look at it. Plus yesterday we had Kaylor Betts on the show. And we're curious to know, did you like the show yesterday? I had a blast. He did too.
Like, it was a great time.
We texted a bit after the show, and it was great. Like, even with Jason there, it was the first time we ran a 4-people podcast, but I liked it. Like it was good stuff. And I'm curious. I'm curious. Fuck, Joe. You're an idiot.
Joe Stradamus, I feel seen. You're always Joe. Seen here, brother.
Hi. Hold on. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, he's doing that too.
Of course he is. Of course he is. If you're just listening to this and you don't know what the fuck we're doing, it's because Joe on his profile picture has really long gray hair,
luxurious hair.
Like, he looks like he has the same hair as Gandalf.
Like he belongs in a Pantene Pro V commercial.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
While we do not. Neither of us do.
I wash my head with the same product as I use in my face.
Yep.
Like when I wash my face, I start at the neck and I go behind the ears.
That's right. That's my shampoo.
Yeah. What the fuck is shampoo? I haven't bought this shit in a very long time. So, guys, in depth, we want to talk about the platforms, and the way we're going to do it is going to be pretty simple. Is Rob's a lefty, liberal. He's going to address the main points of the new Carney liberal platform.
Mm-hmm.
As a small C conservative, I will address the big C conservative platform of Pierre Poilievre to see where are they different. Because, they talk a lot, but they didn't have a platform until 2 days ago.
Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous.
5 days before a fucking election. Like on the 22nd, they release their platform for an election that takes place on the 28th, and early voting has already happened. So it blows my mind. And it's not just Pierre Poilievre that did it. It's not just Mark Carney that did it. They both did it. So they literally released, I think one released it Monday night and one released it Tuesday. But to me, that's same. Within a week of the election. Absolutely crazy. So, oh, Jesus. Joe's saying that he is a fat Fabio.
Fat Fabio. So,
so
he's got the hair, but he's a little portly, but that's all right. We all get there as we go.
Do you want to get started with the Liberal platform, as in what are the main points of the Liberal platform? So you as the lefty present that. I will present the conservative points. And then we'll review the website you sent us of the CBC.
Yeah,
because that one was great, but I was calling bullshit on a lot of the stuff that was on there was completely inaccurate. And once again, CBC is showing why they should get defunded. But let's see.
Yeah, no. So I've got brought up here. I've got the actual Liberal platform, so we can even like cross check it with what the CBC says. Because I noticed that too. CBC did a kind of a summary of each position, and some of them I didn't really necessarily agree that that's actually what the platform is. So yeah, maybe what we'll do is we'll just kind of talk about and bring up an issue, like let's say, I don't know, guns, and then we could just talk. How do you think that's the best way to do it? Or?
I would really like to show you. Tell me what their main points are, because they have main points, right? Their main stuff that they're trying to push. Like if you look at the conservative, they're still going for axe the tax.
Yeah,
they want more energy production and building infrastructure. They are looking for reducing the deficit by 70%.
Yep.
They want cutting consultant and foreign aid, and they want to defund the CBC with a splash of, they want to introduce what they call the Freedom of Speech Act. So that's basically their 5-6 main things that they're pushing that the Liberals are not necessarily pushing. And then we can review on the CBC, because that website, as much as it's full of shit, highlights a lot of the problem, but we know so much of their platform that we can easily say, yeah, that's not true. That's not what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So what are the main points that you found for the Liberals?
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty long document. Let me see here. Yeah, like 67 pages. So the main thing I got as I read it, and I read the whole thing, is just it's a lot of words that don't say much. I guess is the thing is the thing that I took from it. So here's what they say their main points are. Unleash free trade in Canada by tabling legislation to eliminate all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. And I agree.
Which I can agree with that.
Yeah, sure, of course. They say achieve mutual recognition of credentials within provinces and territories so Canadians can work wherever they want. Sure. I mean, that should already be done.
Sounds like a lot of blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I never heard of any issues. Like if you're a nurse in BC, is it really that hard to co-work in Ontario? If it is, then then if everyone knows anything specifically about that, then that's great. I suspect those aren't real issues. Reduce red tape. I mean, that's one of those things that governments say, and in theory, who would ever want to increase red tape? But what do you actually mean? So they say they'll require all relevant federal departments to undertake reviews and to report on progress. One thing you get when you look at politics a lot is if they ever just want to kick a can down the street and not really do anything, they'll say things like, "Oh, we're going to do a study, or we're going to convene a committee, or we're," you know what I mean? And it's just a way to
basically going to pay a bunch of politicians some of your taxpayers' money to figure out what the private sector could have told you in a week. We'll do it in months to 3 years. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I mean, and that's just, if you actually wanted to, the way to cut red tape is just to fucking make decisions. You know what I mean? You don't need to as long as you've got a couple smart people looking at it, people who are genuinely in good faith, going to because of course you don't want to just make rash decisions and not think things through. But as long as a couple smart people are really truly thinking things through, considering all the potential side effects or unintended consequences of a specific action, that's all you need. You don't need an 18-month review that costs $1.5 million.
No.
That essentially is just money into the pockets of well-connected insiders. And they said to protect our economic sovereignty by unlocking projects that will grow our economy. So this one I'm going to call just flat bullshit on. So they say we're all the right things. We will work with provinces and territories and indigenous people to establish a list of nation building projects. Blah 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 blah. And we've said on the show that one thing that we need to focus on in the next couple of years is some of these major infrastructure projects. These pipelines, these mining things. Drill, mine, dig, all those things. Yep. And so what Carney's doing here, though, because he has specifically said he will not. What's the bill? The pipeline bill, is that C-63?
C-69.
Okay, so C-69. He said he will not repeal that or change that. Nope. So he's essentially saying, yeah, we're gonna do all these things. However, we're not going to touch Bill C-69 because, and the thing is if you understand how Bill C-69 works, you know that none of the things that he's talking about can get done. That is essentially I had this debate the other day, and it wasn't even a debate. I was showing him that chart that we regularly show on here about
the GDP one,
the GDP chart, how Canada has got 1% GDP growth in 10 years. And it was like, well, fuck, how? How could they be that bad? If you just did nothing, it wouldn't have been that bad. So you almost have to try to do it. And I believe that fundamentally the primary idea that is behind all liberal economic policies is they refuse to exploit our natural resources because they feel it's a morality issue, right? They don't want to dig. They don't want to drill. They don't want to do anything. And that's fine if you want to be a third world country. But when you're a small country, a modern country that is blessed with an abundance of natural resources, that's a death sentence. You cannot, if you want to be poor, that's fine. But that is the reason. And yes, Bill C-69 is a direct piece of evidence for this mindset that the liberals have, but it permeates all of their decisions. It's just a general desire to not exploit our natural resources on morality grounds, on ethical grounds. And when you do that, what you're going to see is 1% growth, economic growth in 10 years, while the rest of the world has left us in the dust. So
not only that, but the part that blows my mind is not only that, but not only are you not growing your middle class by getting access to those natural resources that we're fucking blessed to have as a country. Third biggest reserve of oil in the world.
Yep.
And we have the third biggest hydroelectricity plants in the world. We have so many trees. We have so many minerals. We have so many resources that we can use. I would argue that we have the largest amount of natural resources that's on tap per capita in the world. Yet our GDP is shit because we don't take advantage of it. And the liberals refuse to repeal Bill C-69, which is what's preventing us, which is what's making all those fucking red tapes. That's what's putting all those red tape in place that he's saying that they're going to remove when they're the one responsible for putting it in the first place. He could have removed them, but no, he went to election right now and dissolved government. So he didn't have or dissolved the parliament in order to prevent him from doing anything. And he's the same party that put the carbon tax in.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely.
And he wants to do business with people that we need to do business with UK and South Asia, but we need to have carbon tax or else they won't do business with us. Well, fuck them and deal with the
China.
China
gives a shit.
It's fully bullshit, but let's say devil's advocate, it's true. China that produces 34% of gas emissions in the world, the biggest polluter in the world, will not do business with us because we don't put a price on carbon.
A carbon.
You know what? Okay, I believe you. I don't, but let's say that I believe you. the US produces a third of their pollution and they don't give a fuck about carbon tax. So why not just deal with them directly? Ding, ding, ding. I won the argument. Liberal Party's done.
Yeah.
But of course not, right?
No, and yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, because the Liberal Party and Mark Carney specifically, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. What he's saying is all the right things. He's saying, yeah, we're going to cut red tape. Okay, sure. We're going to get all these great nation building projects. Okay, sure. But we're not going to cut Bill C, or we're not going to repeal Bill C-69.
Which makes it impossible.
Which makes those things impossible. But why he's doing that is so he's going to make all these promises. And then if he gets elected and when they don't get done, he'll be like, hey, my hands are tied. I'd love to do these things, but Bill C-69, we got to follow the law. We got to follow the law. Bill C-69 is the law. Okay, well, do you want to get rid of Bill C-69? No, we can't do that. So it's just this never-ending, nonstop sort of dog chasing its tail. And I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. I think a lot of people just, they'll see this 1% growth in 10 years and they'll be like, oh, well, I mean, no, I mean, anyone, I'm sure it's just bad luck or something. No, it doesn't work like that. They're very specific policy that our leaders have put in. And that is why, I do believe the number one reason why we've done so poorly economically under the last 10 years of liberals is just this. It's not just a policy for the liberals. It's more of a mindset. It's more of a world. It's a philosophy that it is immoral to exploit our natural resources. And I'm not saying we should be destroying the environment and just digging shit up and leaving a mess everywhere. We should be exploiting them responsibly, and protecting our environment. But as Kaylor said yesterday, it's sort of a mug's game here, because you've got these do-gooders over here in Canada who are like, oh no, we can't do that because of the environment. But then all those jobs and all those projects, they just go to China, who does it much worse, much more damage and destructiveness to the environment. So what was the point? Like understand that we actually in Canada, we have pretty strong regulations to keep that. There are ways you can do this in order to do it responsibly and in a way that doesn't destroy the environment. And so why not do it here? We should be a world leader in these kind of projects. The other thing too,
or even more than that, is, like we talked about with Judith Curie, develop the technology based on the terrain, because it is insane to believe that we don't need energy, that we can scale back. We can't.
Yeah, it is.
If insane. One thing is for sure, we will always need more energy. That's a fact. Unless you guys want to stop using TVs, laptops, refrigerators, cell phones, you want to scale back.
Go back to the Stone Ages.
No problem.
Sure.
It's possible. But the fact is that we're not scaling back on our energy consumption or our energy needs.
We're not.
What can we do to develop it? Exactly. Do you have oil? Awesome. Drill. Try to drill in the best way possible to make it less impactful on the environment. And that's coming from a guy. I don't believe in human-made climate change. It's all a fucking hoax, if you ask me. But can you destroy your environment?
Well, and just for sake of argument, I do broadly think that there's, I don't know this, I don't necessarily believe that the scale to what they're saying is, I think there's fear mongering going on, but I think that yes, there's probably some warming going on, and so I'm open.
We have an impact.
Yeah,
we have an impact. Yes, but we're not warming up the sky, considering the amount of volcano activity that eclipse everything that we do. Now, does that mean we're not polluting our waterways? No, we definitely are.
Well, that's the other thing too. Yeah,
but that's my point. We do have an impact on our environment, but it is not the climate change bullshit that they're talking about.
Yeah,
all I'm saying is use the technology that you have based on the terrain. If it's geothermal, awesome. If it's nuclear, awesome. If it's coal, that's all you have is coal, fucking do it. If all you have is hydroelectricity, do that. If it's oil, do that. Let's stop punishing oil and gas because we believe that it's the enemy. We still need it. We still need oil and gas in order to meet our energy consumption requirements. So bullshit. Develop the best technology for the best place, and the government should be there to remove all that red tape. They should be there to prevent us from actually getting the energy that we need. And instead of buying it from Saudi Arabia that we don't fucking agree, with the way they treat women. How
Stoning
about we
women
buy it
for
from
adultery
Canadians
and
and build our own middle class at the same time? Like, it's nonsensical to me. Nonsensical.
It's such an easy
That's where the
solution.
liberals are so full of shit.
Well, and it's just classic, like so indicative of that kind of thinking, where you'll have, let's say, these people like, climate change is a very serious problem. We need to cut our reliance on fossil fuels. Okay, good news. We've got this amazing technology called nuclear that's completely clean and will not release any CO2. Oh no, well, we can't do that. Well, make up your fucking mind, man. Like, you either have a solution, or we have a solution. If you don't like that, then now you just sound like you're sitting here just saying no to everything. You're just being Dr. No. And that's not a way to run a society. And
we agree.
You see now, after 10 years of liberal policies, that's how they run it. You see what happens. You have 1% growth because our leaders are refusing to do, like, that is our one superpower, is our natural resources. And that just, if you have a philosophy and a worldview where you will not exploit them, then you are dooming us to poverty as a nation. And that is essentially the fundamental difference, I believe, on this issue about nation building projects, as he calls them here, and the conservatives. They at least understand that, yes, maybe it's not ideal to burn some of these so-called dirty fuels, but right now we don't have an option. We need energy. That's just a given, and until a better solution comes up, then we have to do what we have to do.
What's his next? What's the next one? Because you know what? So it's build, getting project done faster and better. So it's all the same.
It's more the same, and none of it means anything if you don't get rid of Bill C-69. Then he goes down to CBC. If you wanted to talk about the Conservative Party, what they do.
You're reading my mind, because even the Conservative Party, their platform is 58 pages long, which is filled of bullshit. Like, they even talk about harassment through phone calls in their platform. Like, really, is that my biggest problem right now?
Who cares?
I'm just gonna go on what you talked about. So basically, he calls it more energy production and building infrastructure. Pierre Poilievre, or the Tories, want to remove the government red tape that prevents the development of energy project. Well,
yeah.
Again, same bullshit. But he has said at multiple times that he wants to remove Bill C-69, and we have to agree that I agree with you 1,000%. If you don't remove B-69, you will never able to remove the red tape, because
you'll never
red tape should be identified as Bill C-69.
Yeah.
It should be written on the pictures of the red tape. So,
and for the audience out there who aren't quite sure, so Bill C-69 is, just very briefly, a law that essentially gives every single province who is remotely affected by every project the ability to say no for whatever reason. And any indigenous tribe who is going to be, and of course, if you're talking about exploiting natural resources, every single project is going to affect multiple provinces and is going to affect at least multiple indigenous tribes or people. And if you just give them a blanket veto, you are ensuring that these will never get done. That's what Quebec used, C-69, in order to stop the Canada East pipeline. And so I'm not saying that those people, of course, provinces should have a say. And of course, indigenous peoples who are affected by a project should have a say. They should have a seat at the table. They should not be given a blanket veto. They should not be allowed to just say no for whatever reason. They should be compensated fairly and properly, but there has to be a mechanism where, let's say there's a court of arbitration set up, where if an indigenous people or tribe says, yeah, we don't agree with this, how you're going to compensate us, bring it to the court, and whatever the court decides is what it decides. But the project has to go through, right? We can't be held hostage by a very tiny group, whether that's a small indigenous tribe or one province.
And especially Quebec's very good at that, because they
love it. They love it.
We're right on the Saint Laurent here, so we have access to the Atlantic. So if we veto the energy pipeline, you're like, fuck you, it's not going to the Atlantic. BC did that forever too, so it wouldn't go to the Pacific. So I agree with you 1,000%.
At some point, you wonder, is Canada even working? If all these different provinces have the ability to just shut, like, how can we run a country like that?
You can't. You absolutely can. And at the same time, there's always the hypocrisy of Quebec loving those equalization payments.
They love it. Paid for primarily by Alberta. They love the Albertan money that comes from the oil, but they don't want to do their part.
They don't want the responsibility of having to allow those pipelines through.
Even though they would also benefit Quebec. They would get a lot of jobs.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to show, because the other thing that Pierre Poilievre is promising is that he will get rid of the Impact Assessment Act. And for the people out there that don't know what it is, it stands for IAA. It's a Canadian federal law that outlines a process for assessing the potential environmental, social, and economic impact of major projects, including those on federal land or outside of Canada. It ensures that projects are carefully evaluated before they are approved, taking into account both positive and negative effects and impacts on Indigenous people. So you basically have Bill C-69 that gives the veto, a veto, to every single provinces out there. And on top of that, you have an Impact Assessment Act that can also give potentially the right to Indigenous people to refuse everything that they want if it's not good enough.
And
even if it's on federal land
for some people.
It even impacts federal law. So the federal land. So basically there's no way around this. So this is what they mean by red tape.
Yeah. And that's why it's disingenuous for the Liberals to say, oh, we want to cut red tape when the 99% of the red tape is in one or two bills, and they refuse to cut those.
The other thing that Pierre Poilievre is saying, that he wants to create a national energy corridor to rapidly improve and build critical infrastructure. So basically, if you hear that, he hasn't put his plan 100% out there, but basically, if we agree that the pipeline needs to go east to west, this is the route that it's on. It's pre-approved. Yes, whatever you need to do to build it on that land going that direction, no problem, it's approved. And he also wants to remove the Liberal cap on oil and gas production, planning to double the production in Newfoundland and Labrador, fast-tracking BC's NLG Canada Phase 2 and the GNL Quebec LNG. That's
why is there a cap at all? Why is there a cap at all on Newfoundland and Labrador's gas? You know what I mean? Why? Those projects are already built. Those are already pumping. They're already producing fuel.
Why would there any cap on any oil and gas wherever the fuck it is in Canada?
Yeah.
Why or do we have a cap? If we can produce this shit
then
10 times faster, produce it. What we don't use, we'll fucking sell it to the US or to overseas. Problem solved. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
and
we have
when you
all
sell
this
it,
liquid. We all have that liquid gold in our backyard, but let's just extract tiny little portion of it at a time because we don't need the money.
So that's a perfect example. Perfect example. What I was talking about when I say the design, it's a worldview of the Liberals. It's not just one policy or one law. They have a worldview that it is wrong to extract our natural resources. It's the only explanation for putting a cap on oil reserves, that you're already producing oil. There's no construction needed. They're already producing. You're just saying no more. It's stupid.
It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. It makes no sense.
No.
What else is because this is, I think, is a good comparison. Like on one side, the Liberal is saying we want to build and allow provinces to deal with each other, but we will not remove Bill C-69.
The necessary thing to do that. Yeah.
It's impossible to remove the red tape. And Pierre Poilievre is saying to you that he will remove the red tape and he will allow you to build. He will pre-approve path. He will remove the Assessment Act, and he will pre-approve a line where we can build cross-country pipelines. It's, if you had to give a score, ding, 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 Pierre Poilievre wins that one.
10 out of 10, easy. And it's just, you got to understand what Carney's doing here when he's saying, he's saying things that sound good, because it wouldn't sound good to say, oh, we're not going to build we're not going to invest, we're not going to infrastructure. But this way he has a get out of jail free card later when he says, oh no, I wanted to do those things that I promised, but hey, Bill C-69 won't allow it. So what can you do? And of course, that's a lie, because he could have repealed Bill C-69. So the next thing it's got on there is CBC, which is obviously pretty straightforward. Liberals want to fund it more. What's Poilievre's official position on the CBC?
You see, and that's the thing, right? he's basically saying he likes to say that he's going to defund it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not what he seems to be saying on paper. He seems to be saying that he wants to lower the funding because he also wants to keep the French language service of CBC, that is Radio Canada. Because not only he said it in the debate, he said it when he was on Radio Canada a couple of weeks ago in Quebec. So he's saying defund the CBC, but he's not really saying defund the CBC. He should be honest and just say that he wants to lower the funding of CBC.
Yeah.
Because nowhere does it say that he is removing all funding to CBC. He wants to decrease it. Again, that I cannot disagree with him more. He needs to fucking cut the fucking umbilical cord. Just fuck CBC. If they can't run by themselves, let it die. Let that fucking thing die. But you know, one of the things that I find extremely hypocritical about Pierre Poilievre is in his platform, he says that he wants to give $100 million to support media freedom.
Now,
without further detail. So he wants to somehow invest $100 million each year to support media freedom, whatever the fuck that means. Is that you're going to start giving money? You're going to start giving money to people that don't question you? Like, how is this what you're saying? Because I'm assuming right now, because there's no way for me to know because there's no further details.
I would definitely like.
How is that any fucking different from what the Liberal Party did with the CBC? To me, it's the same thing. There's no difference, but you're going to pick and choose who you give it to, because you know this is the thing, and I don't want to speak against her because I have no issues with her whatsoever. Like, this is not a critique of her, but a critique of Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre released do you know the girl Jasmine Lane?
Yeah. We talked about her before, right?
Yesterday we mentioned her. So Kaylor has told me that he has approached the Conservative Party, he's approached the PPC Party, he's approached the Liberal Party to talk to them. He has a way bigger platform than she does, at least 3-4 times the size, if not more, than her. Never heard back from anybody except the PPC. That's what, and Kaylor, if you're saying this, you correct me if I'm wrong, but that is what I heard. That is what, when we had a conversation last on his podcast, that's pretty much what he told me. And yet Pierre Poilievre has appeared on her podcast, Jasmine Lane's podcast, which is a lot smaller than his platform. And he appeared there with his wife. He wasn't even alone. His wife was there also. And the interview is only 30 minutes long. And
I bet you it's very scripted.
It is 100% because, and again, I don't want to talk against Jasmine Lane. Like, I don't have a problem with her personally whatsoever, but she is a conservative supporter. Like, she is definitely a conservative supporter. And I haven't seen any of her posts talking against what Pierre Poilievre says. She will talk against the Liberal, but she doesn't seem to be talking against Pierre Poilievre, which is most conservative out there, right? So it's not just her, it's most platform. I'm one of the only ones that's out there that's critical of Pierre Poilievre in Canada. No, and I get shit for it all the time. So it bothers me that you have a guy like Kaylor Betts has a bigger platform than her, but he will question him. He will not give him scripted questions, lowball scripted questions. He will actually ask him a hard question as much as
why he'll be the go.
Of course, and he will vote. He said it yesterday. He will vote for Pierre Poilievre. He has no shame in saying it, but he would never give him like lowball questions, just like, hey, explain to us why you think you're right and the Liberals are wrong.
Yeah,
see, no, but
why
this
are you so
bothers
popular?
Me.
Why are you so popular?
But this bothers me, right? Good for Jasmine Lane to have been able to get him on this to get Pierre Poilievre on her podcast. Awesome, good for you. I'm happy for you that you were able to get it. But at the same time, it just shows me that Pierre Poilievre does not want to be asked hard questions. So the point I'm trying to make here is that what he considers $100 million a year to be given
is that the media freedom?
Supporting media freedom? Because this is the point I'm trying to make, because she is not exposing him the way I am. she's not calling him out the way I'm calling him out. I've never seen any of her posts calling him out. And he won't go on a platform like Kaylor Betts, that is a guy that will vote for Pierre Poilievre.
Mm-hmm.
But he will not give him easy questions. He expects, he's a smart guy. Like if you guys were here yesterday, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you saw him yesterday. He's a smart guy. He knows what he stands for, and he's not scared to stand for it or to ask you questions. He called me out on my Christians belief, which, you know what? Awesome. I love to.
Yeah.
I love it. I fucking live for this shit. But is that what the $100 million for? This bothers me. I don't like this. I don't like, I'm going to give it to Freedom Media. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, just in general, whatever the issue is, if you're going to talk about giving money, that kind of money, like be specific about it. Like don't just say some generic-y, sound goody thing, because it doesn't really mean anything. Like in theory, in principle, yes, media freedom is a good thing. But what do you mean by that? Do you mean that you can't criticize the media? Because that's not freedom.
Because the point I'm trying to make is, would he give part of that money to a woman like Jasmine Lane? Would he give it to her and me and us? Would he give it to us, Kaylor Betts, her? Or would it just be her? This is why I'm using her as an example. It's not to bash her, but if she supports the Conservative Party and she doesn't talk against it, is that who's going to get the money?
What if instead of giving $1 billion to CBC, which is what, 1,000 millions? Why not give 1,000 independent podcasts $1 million? You know, that seems like, if that's what he means,
the game changer.
Yeah, if that's what he means, then I could get behind that, because now you've
I couldn't.
$1 million would go a long way in a small independent news organization.
But I couldn't support that.
Why not?
I couldn't, because who the fuck chooses 1,000 people?
Well, I mean, I guess if there's 1,000, it'd be basically all of them.
No, there's a lot more than 1,000 people that have a podcast in Canada
that are talking about politics.
And I guarantee you, every single one of them thinks the same thing, that if they ever got the exposure, they would be massive. Every single one of them is going to think that. So the thing is I don't want government money to be invested in media whatsoever. You need to be able to criticize the government. And the fact that Pierre Poilievre is saying on one side that he wants to defund the CBC, which his platform is indicating that he wants to remove some of the funding. He's not saying to blank it all out, because he wants to keep CBC, Radio-Canada, which is part of the CBC. And he wants to give $100 million for supporting media freedom. What the fuck does that mean? I don't like it. And he also wants to increase the funding to the local journalism initiative by $25 million, and provide $25 million to support Indigenous media. Who gets to choose which Indigenous media is okay and which one is not okay? The ones that are voting Liberal right now, do they get that 25 millions, or is it just the people that are voting for the Conservative or that never spoke again? This is my problem, right? So who gets the money?
It's definitely a slippery slope. How do you,
having the government choose who gets to be funded and not is bullshit. Bullshit. What else you got?
So the next one is to go see if I can. Is yours parts? There we go.
I removed it.
So this is about defense. This doesn't seem to be a huge hot button topic in this election, but just because it is typically at least somewhat of a major issue, we'll just briefly go over it. Liberals, right here, it's just a bunch of fluff here talking about how blah, 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 we're so great. Our defense is amazing. Our investments will be spent wisely and effectively. So the gist of it is they do pledge to increase investment in the military, which, okay. I mean, I think that's a good thing. But as always, the devil's in the details. They don't really say exactly how they're going to do so, other than say our investments will be spent wisely and effectively put Canada on track to exceed our NATO defense spending target before 2030. If you remember that target is 2% of GDP. It says 10 years ago, defense spending was less than 1% of GDP. They don't say how much it is now, likely because it would make the Liberals look bad. I suspect it's not much different than 1% of GDP. Here's okay. So specifically, they will give a pay raise to Canadian Armed Forces members. Okay, sure. Give better support to our armed forces members through investment in housing, healthcare, and childcare. Okay, sure, sounds good. Modernize the recruitment process, including by streamlining security clearances. Yeah,
The one that Pierre Poliev can't get?
yeah, exactly. That's what they mean. Streamline specifically Pierre Poilievre's
For Pierre
security
Poliev.
clearance.
But what helps him will help all of you.
Yes, exactly. So every year, thousands of Canadians try to join the armed forces, but encounter frustrating barriers and a slow process, leading to a recruitment rate of less than 10%. And address, I don't know that that's the reason why recruitment is so low. I think so. One thing that I did like about Polyev, and I don't know if he says this in the platform, but I've heard in speeches he talks about restoring a warrior culture to the military. And as someone who has been in the military, I can tell you right now that's extremely important. There is a very specific type of personality that generally will join the military, and normally, at least the ones that you want, have a warrior mindset. And that has been over the last 10, 15 years has just been beaten out. Like I still have friends that are still in the military, and they'll tell me, man, I'm just collecting a paycheck. Like this place is garbage. It is not what it used to be. They'll use words like, pussification, or basically become a bunch of pussies. We all understand what that means, what that looks like. And it's because the warrior spirit has been crushed. The warrior spirit has been demonized. And do you remember and it's not just in Canada. It was the same in the States under Biden. Do you remember the ads that we played a long time ago? And we played it because you were like, oh, what a change this is. And it was just this it was a brand new ad under the new the Secretary of Defense, and it was like hard hitting. You could tell, like, yes, this is a warrior spirit type ad. And then we showed, here was one under Biden, and it was like, yeah, I want to join because my 2 gay moms think that it's so special. You know what I mean? Like that. And like, that's what we mean when we say crushing the warrior spirit. And yes, that's just a commercial, but that entire mindset filters down. And that not only is it like it's terrible for morale, it recruits the wrong kind of people. You do not want those kind of people in your fighting force. It destroys the capability of your military, because at the end of the day, personnel is everything. Morale is everything. You can have all the fancy gadgets and all the equipment in the world. If you don't have men and women with that warrior mindset, that warrior spirit, who want to be there to, at the end of the day, there's no amount of, like prettying it up you can do. It is the military. The entire purpose is to kill people, to be violent, to be destructive, good, destructive and a productive destruction. And there are people out there who say, oh, there's no such thing. And you can't let pacifists take over the military, right? Because it's the fundamental nature of it is to wage a war. And that war is to defend our country in theory. And we are really hurting readiness. So I think,
I cannot find the warrior mindset that you're talking about, because I remember him talking about this. It is not part of the 58 pages platform, but he does say that when it comes to, but it does come when it talks, because he talked about NATO. He recommends the 2% of our GDP on national defense, as per what the NATO recommendation is. But that's basically it when it comes to NATO. He does talk a lot about military. He talks about how we need to be better with veterans, which I couldn't agree with more. But at the same time, I don't see anything like his speeches.
Yeah. And as Kayla
said, that bothers me. I don't like when they do that.
Yeah, I feel like
if you're going to say it in a speech, it should be in writing. And I like the warrior mindset, because I completely agree with you that it needs a different type of person to be in the military than just you don't want pacifists.
No, you don't. And that's what we've allowed. And that's why, like, when Carney is talking about, like, oh, it's a money thing. It's just as if we just throw more money into it, things will be better. And that just fundamentally misunderstands the problem as I see it.
Yeah. 100%. It is the type of people that are joining. And right now, I guarantee you that all the great people that should be in the military don't want to be in the military, because, as your friend has said, and as some of my friends have said, it's been pussified. It's as bad as this is going to sound, you don't want the purple-haired men think that they're women in the military.
Absolutely
Let's be fucking honest
Absolutely
here.
not.
You want fucking killers in the
Yep.
military. That's who
Yep.
you want. And
Yep.
believe in what the military's mission is right now, the political standpoint of the military. That's a completely different thing. I'm thinking self-defense. You need a military that's going to protect your country. And I want guys like me. I want guys like you. I want guys that are going to die for their country.
Yep. And exactly, that's 100% right. And that starts from the top. That culture starts from the top and it flows downhill. And they've had 10 years to completely destroy it. And it's worked. And so when Carney talks about like, oh, recruitment's down to barely 10%, okay, but like, do you understand why? Because
No.
and that's not the only problem. It like, yes, the recruitment is lower, but it's also the quality of the recruits. The recruits they are getting, I guarantee, are not the ones that you want. They are not the ones that should be. They're not the ones who naturally, because as we've talked about a lot on the show, young men, right? They have that need for adventure. Those are the ones you want. Those are the ones that that can be trained to be. I think when you say like killers, some people might be but that's absolutely correct. That is what they are trained to be. Killers, trained killers to use violence for in the goals of protecting and defending our national interests and the country itself. Controlled aggression, right? We're not talking about wild killers. That's all military training is designed to do. Control your aggression, teach you how to be an effective and productive killer, essentially.
As Jordan Peterson said, you need, I always imagine a pit bull on a leash. You need to be able to leash that pit bull, but the day that the pit bull needs to get off the leash, that pit bull needs to be able to do whatever the fuck it takes in order to get rid of the threat. Plain and simple. Once you're done, you clip that leash back on and it's under control again.
Absolutely.
But just the fact that the chief of the defense staff right now, the highest general in Canada, is a fucking woman. That right then and there, to me, makes no sense at all. She ain't fucking going on the front line killing people by the dozens. Like, it's not her. Do you honestly believe that really masculine men want to follow her into battle? Fuck no. Fuck
no.
And this bothers the shit out of me, because you look at the people that are always, the people you're always seeing on TV talking about the military in Canada, they're all women. And I'm like, why are women there?
Why
are those women there? Women should not be in the front line. So why the fuck are they the ones giving orders to people on the front line? Makes no sense to me. Men should be responsible of the fucking military, not fucking women. Plain and simple.
To me, like, there are some things that just men are better suited for. And the fact that it's debatable that fighting and killing and waging war,
it ain't
might be one of them. It's not. It's very clearly one of them. And we can all go and say like, oh well, women can do just as much, but that's just not true. There are just some things men are better suited at, and waging war is very clearly one of them. And you cannot ignore like what you said, like all the men under them are they going to naturally be able to follow them? No, especially if they perceive that these women generals above them are only there for DEI purposes. And I guarantee you the overwhelming majority of them are, probably all of them.
And that's exactly what your friends and my friends are thinking when they look up. They're like, you don't deserve that job.
Of course they are.
You don't deserve that job.
And how do you like, and that's where everything flows down from the top. You think of classic famous generals like George Patton and Eisenhower and Marshall and World War II generals. Those are like old blood and guts type soldiers, right? A man's man. And in war, you need that. And you can fucking wokeify it all you want, and you can talk about like, oh well, everyone can do this. No. It will not work. And this is just that magical thinking that has infected the left. It's okay. It is perfectly okay to say, you know what? Men are probably better at killing and waging wars, because they very clearly are happy to say how men are much more aggressive and violent in other aspects of society, right? When they talk about like domestic violence or whatnot, they will absolutely. But you can't. Okay, I agree with you. Men are more violent and aggressive, and that is why domestic violence rates are much, much higher for men. And that is a problem. Agreed. But that very same thing also, you can't say that and then say, oh, but when it comes to waging war and fighting and killing, women are just as good. They are not.
No.
This isn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's wow.
Agreed. What else is
all right?
Because the military, we can bang that drum for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Let's stop that rabbit hole right now.
All right. So we got the economy / tariffs. Picarni, the liberal platform, workers and businesses are under threat from America's unjustified trade war. Is an attempt to weaken our economy, blah, 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 blah. We will reject any attempt to weaken us, wear us down, divide us, or own us. Sure. Okay, great. So specifically what they want to do, a Mark Carney-led government will respond to existing U.S. tariffs on our economy for as long as necessary. So essentially, every dollar raised from these tariffs will support Canadian workers. Okay. Essentially, yeah, retaliatory tariffs is the strategy. Now, I believe that's the same one for Poilievre. Is that what are the conservatives saying about tariffs?
There's only one mention of tariff in his whole document, and it says vigorously pursue the reduction of international trade barrier and tariffs.
Well, actually, I kind of like that a little better, to be honest.
This is one of the biggest problems that I have with Poilievre is that he's not a strong leader. He did not have the balls to say this from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you want to bet that he's going to go negotiate? If he's elected, he's going to go negotiate with Trump and just do the right thing that he should have done from the get-go. That's what I believe is going to happen. But he did not have the balls to say that from the beginning because he did not want to alienate the people on the left that he's trying to get to vote for him. This is what bothers me so much about Poilievre is I keep on hearing from people, and even Kaler yesterday was kind of alluding to that, saying that you'll see what he's going to do when he's in power. Yeah, but bullshit. Like, as much as I agree with him, I see what he's saying. You should have the balls to say it when
read the bill.
Matters.
What did Pelosi say? You got to pass the bill to know what's in it.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, again, seems to be a little bit better than Carney on this regard, who is saying,
well, Carney has built his whole his whole fucking campaign on elbows up and go against Trumpy.
Yeah.
So,
yep. That's right. And let me see here. There's a couple. So this section is about the entire economy, not just tariffs. So he did talk about tariffs, but he says, okay, create a $2 billion strategic response fund to boost auto sector. Okay, I mean, that's fairly typical political
hold on.
speak.
There's one other thing. Sorry.
Yep.
We also recognize the need for improving security and improve relations with the United States and recommends that the feasibility of a North American perimeter be studied.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, which is sort of like a free economic free trade zone within North America, which I think
be protected the way Trump has been asking for 3 months now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, at least for me, I like it. Certainly like it better than what Carney's saying, which is essentially just go toe to toe, dollar for dollar for tariffs. This one here, it says maximize Canada's steel, aluminum, and critical minerals from exploration to battery production to seize this economic opportunity, create higher paying jobs, and build the strongest economy in the G7. And that sounds great, but we arrive back at square one to what we talked about. In order to do that, in order to do those things, you have to get rid of Bill C-69, and if you don't, it won't work. So it's more
even more than that, bro. Not only do you need to get rid of Bill C-69, but you need to renegotiate a treaty with the U.S. because they buy 70 to 75% of our exports. So no matter what, we supply so much aluminum to the U.S. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
If you do not remove Bill C-69, oil and gas is not going to be developed. If you don't remove the caps, it's not going to be developed. If you don't deal with the U.S., who the fuck is going to buy our steel? So can you stop with this bullshit? Like, this is the difference. Up to now, I think it's 2-0 for Poilievre and the conservative. At least, they seem to be saying similar things, but if you don't remove Bill C-69, whatever the fuck you say will not happen.
And that's the key. That's the key is, they are both saying, roughly similar things, except the Liberals have committed to leaving in place a law that will make all those things impossible. So it doesn't really matter what they're saying. And then when they don't get it done, they'll just use that as their excuse. Oh, hey, we're just following the law. Can't do anything about the law. Well, you could have.
Yep.
You just chose not to. So the next issue, I'm not sure if the Conservatives talk about this because food security is the issue, but I did want to talk about it because it's talking about basically the farmers. The farmers or the dairy producers cartel in Canada. Here he says he's going to strengthen Canada's food security by investing in greenhouses, hydroponics. Okay, sure. He's let me see here. Work to increase the resilience of food supply chains. I mean, that's all standard. Oh wait, here it is. Yes, farmers and agri-food. This is what I want to talk about. He will keep Canada's supply management off the table in any negotiations with the U.S. We will protect Canada's commitment to supply management, including dairy, poultry, and eggs. This will protect Canadian jobs, insulate these segments of our food supply from fluctuations in production costs, and guarantee Canadian farmers a minimum price for their products. Now, the thing I don't like about this is because, yes, that does protect the Canadian dairy farmers. But the thing that cartel of dairy farmers does is it means that all Canadians pay much higher prices for dairy, for milk, for eggs, for cheese. I did a quick Google search, and just historically speaking, milk is about 30 to 35% higher prices here than the United States. Dairy and cheese is all about the same, and it's precisely because of this. Like if you notice here, it says guarantee Canadian farmers a minimum price for their products. That means that no matter how cheaply they can make these products, they will get a minimum cost of price. It's essentially it's not a capitalist system. I don't know if I would call it communist, but it's definitely it's getting close to it in the sense that like a market-based system would have whoever can produce their milk the cheapest will be able to sell it for the cheapest and still turn a profit. And then they will be the ones who sell most of their product. And then those savings we pass on the consumer. And there's no incentive for them to lower their cost of production now because they are guaranteed a minimum price. And it's, the dairy lobby, like big dairy in Canada is weirdly powerful. Like it's as Carney says here, this is for whatever reason, politicians do not want to touch it. And it hurts Canadian consumers. Yeah, because exactly right. It's all about money and powerful lobbyists and all that. But the way he's throwing this out as a positive. Like he's like, when I'm elected, I will guarantee you the right of dairy farmers to charge you much more for their products and they frame it as food security. Well, if you just opened up trade and removed the tariffs to American products, there'll be plenty of food security. That milk and those products will always be there, and you'll get them a lot cheaper. It might hurt the actual dairy farmers here, but if they can't compete, then they'll have to figure out how to compete, and they'll figure it out.
Do you know that there's a cap on milk as well?
Cap on the price?
There's a cap on the production of milk. Have you never seen these videos of farmer just dumping them?
Yeah, they get paid to dump it out.
They don't necessarily get paid, actually.
Oh, no?
They say that even with the cap on production, that about 7% of the milk produced has been got rid of over the past 10 years. I would love to have an expert on supply management on the show to explain everything that they do and what the reason behind it. But the conservative are basically, it's called supply management, right? In Canada, the whole infrastructure that caps and prevents or that put a certain minimum price on milk, dairy products. And the conservatives are saying that it is in the best interest of Canada and Canadian agriculture that the industry, under the protection of supply management, remain viable. A conservative government will support supply management and its goal to deliver a high quality product to consumer for a fair price with reasonable return on the producer. So blah, 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 blah. We continue with supply management, which I think it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Get rid of this. This is socialist 101 right there.
Yeah, just
free market.
Go to a market system, right? Market system always works. Yeah,
100%.
The market knows best. And yeah, it's just
so
funny
on that one, they both fail.
What does Polyev say about it?
That's what I just read.
Oh shit, that was from
I was reading word for word is fucking platform.
Oh, I thought you were still going about the liberals. Wow, that's the exact same one.
No, what I wrote. No.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on. The Conservative Party believes it is in the best interest of Canada and Canadian agriculture that the industries under the protection of supply management remain viable. A Conservative government will support supply management and its goal to deliver a high-quality product to consumer for a fair price with reasonable return to its producer. That is right out of their platform. So basically, copy-paste, liberal, conservative, no difference. They will not touch that. This is why, once again, I will be the first one to call Polyev a fake conservative, because that is the type of shit that is not free market, that is not for capital, that is so borderline fucking socialist.
Yeah.
If it's not socialist as a whole.
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean. Like the dairy industry in Canada is weirdly powerful. They've got support on both sides, and I don't understand it, because most Canadians would be happy to have cheaper milk, you know what I mean? Exactly. It's all about
right there,
dollars.
bro.
Yeah, it's all about money.
There. You know, they're getting their pocket lined up somehow, all of them.
Yeah. And so then we'll go on to
what else?
Something that's near and dear to your heart, gun control. Guns. Carney says and I'm actually kind of interested in what the Conservatives have to say. But Carney says a serious plan to keep our communities safe starts with responsible action to keep guns off our streets. We will continue to take actions to keep assault-style rifles out of our communities, all while respecting the long-standing tradition of hunting, including among Indigenous people. They always have to add either Indigenous people or LGBTQ or whatever to every fucking issue. Like, it's okay. Yes, of course we should care about them, but we shouldn't care about any group more than any other group.
No, like, agreed.
Yeah. So specifically,
hold on there. No, but hold on there.
Yep.
Just because I want to say, so a conservative government is committed to cost-effective gun control programs designed to keep guns out of the hands of criminals while respecting the rights of law-abiding Canadians to own and use firearm responsibly. Basically, the same fucking bullshit without Indigenous and LGBTQ written into there. But the plan, again, he is not a conservative. Pierre Polyev is a leftist with a fiscal sense. That's it. And once again, he proves it right there. And there's 4 million fucking Canadians that are gun owners that are going to vote for this bullshit.
Now, so the specific things that they're going to do. So continue to implement an efficient gun buyback program for assault-style firearms. Now, I don't really, like I said, I don't like guns is not really a big issue one way or the other to me. What has been the buyback program so far? What does that mean?
A lot of wasted money. Basically, what the buyback program is, and I'm putting it in layman's terms, obviously.
Yep.
But basically, what it means is that over the past few years, the Liberal government has banned more than 2,500 guns, and they can no longer be used. They were purchased. I have some of those guns. They were purchased legally as either restricted or non-restricted firearms, which the easy way to put it is restricted. You can, most of the time, you can go hunting with them.
Okay.
Non-restricted, you can't go hunting with them. You can only go to the gun range. Like, for example, handguns fall into that category. AR-15 style rifles will fall into that category. Hunting rifles are normally like shotguns, long rifles, like let's say 308, the 30-30, something that you use to hunt will fall into the non-restricted. And now with the government, and then you had your bans, you have those that were banned from the get-go as soon as, like, for the past 10, 20 years, automatic rifle, for example, being one of them, or one that could easily be switched to a fully automatic gun. And they also had grandfather laws that would allow, let's say that I bought a certain gun years and years ago before a certain law passed, I'm still able to keep it and I can give it to my children if they have their firearms license. The liberals removed that. So not only did they ban a bunch of guns, I'm no longer able to give it away to my kids if I die. So although I bought it legally, I cannot give it to anybody else. I can't even grandfather it to my children or to my children's children. So basically,
are you
those
allowed
guns.
to use it like at a range?
Nope.
Oh, you
No. Oh no. Those 2,500 to 3,500,000, like those guns that they banned, I cannot take them out of my safe anymore. I'm not able to take them out of my home at all.
Will they buy them back? Is that
so that was the goal, is to set up a buyback program that would actually buy guns from people.
Okay.
Yet it was never put in place. It's just been costing a shit ton of money. But at the end of the day, you can, there's points where we can argue on this. We can either argue on the efficiency of such a program, but it's a government program, so it's not efficient from the get-go. Let's be honest here,
because it seems like it'd be easy enough to do.
Yeah, but the point is that why the fuck would I have to sell my guns that I bought legally as a legal gun owner? I bought them legally. Now, because there's a bunch of RCMP people that were not elected to represent my views, but were chosen by the liberal government, are now telling me that those guns are dangerous because they're black plastic. And now I need to lose those guns and to sell them back to the government with my own taxpayers' money. It makes no sense. Zero sense. Either, at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. You either trust vetted people like me to own firearms or you don't. Which one is it? Stop bullshitting me. Because it's not like I went to, I sent a text somewhere and I got a fucking license. No. I had to sit down in class with a teacher that doesn't only teach me the material that I should know on how to handle a gun. They will make sure that I show them how I handle the gun in the setting of a class. But they also, one of the things, because I got some friends that are actually, or friends, I know guys that actually teach those courses for the RCMP. Okay. And you know what? They assess you psychologically at the same time. They see how you are in the class.
Oh, really?
Of course, they're there to actually manage the type of people that they're. Not only that, but it takes you months to get back your license. Even if I pass the written exam, even if I pass, so you have to go your non-restricted license, which is a weekend, right? Then you have to do your restricted one, which is also in class, and you have a handling portion where you need to go to the range with one of the teachers, and they will give you a handgun. Pop, here's a handgun, load it. I want to make sure you're doing it properly. You're not fucking waving that shit all over the place. That you have muzzle control, that it's downrange at all times, right? So there's a lot of tests that needs to be passed in order to get those guns. The guys are there to teach you. They're there to analyze you, the type of person that you are. Then the RCMP gets your applications and they do a background check on you. You need to have, if I remember correctly, it's at least 2 or 3 people that have known you for at least 5 years that will put their name down to say, I vouch for that guy. He is psychologically sane. And I back him up when it comes to his license. If you have a wife, the RCMP needs to talk to your wife in order to make sure that you are good, that she's good with you getting firearms. So that's the thing, right? They don't talk about this stuff. The conservative doesn't talk about this. The liberals don't talk about this. But the point of the matter is that people like me that are vetted the way that we are, that we have our name run into 2 different federal databases every single fucking day to make sure that we didn't commit a crime that would make us illegally
ineligible.
Perfect. Exactly. You don't want that type of people owning guns. It's already all in place. It's been in place forever. Yet the Liberal Party and their platform are going to say, oh, we're going to take guns away from violent people. Bitch, please. You're already doing it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I definitely get the frustration, especially if you just want to have guns to defend your home.
That's not legal in Canada,
but
that's not even legal. You're not allowed to defend yourself in Canada, no.
Oh, just in general.
No. You can't. Like in Canada, you could never go See, if you ever do your classes, I would have never been able to say, why do you want to own guns? Oh, I want to defend my family. Denied. You're not getting your license. You can't say that.
Really? Oh,
No,
Jesus.
fuck no. The only reason you own guns in Canada is to go hunting and you want to go shooting, sports shooting. Oh no,
They'll actually deny you for that.
No. Oh, of course they will. Bro, you're literally saying that you're going to start training with firearms in order to kill people in case they invade your house? That's not your job. That's the job of the police, bro. That's not your job. You see it? You're good. I can see your eyes that you're Googling it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, you
in
can't
Canada,
say that, bro. No.
While individuals have the right to defend themselves, using a firearm for self-defense is generally not permitted. Yep. That is fucking wild, man.
So I had a debate with my stepfather, which he was a colonel in the army. So he's been in the army his whole life, right?
Yeah.
And there was a case, I believe, that it was in New Brunswick. It's quite a few years ago, but let's assume that it was New Brunswick. Yeah. And you had two young kids. I think it was a 17 and 19-year-old that entered this man's house.
Okay.
The guy wakes up in the middle of the night. He sees people in his house. He grabs his gun. He's like, fuck you. He starts shooting the kids. I say kids, but they're adults at this point, 17 and 19 years old. Yeah. They run to his car. Now, he continued shooting at them. And the disagreement that my stepfather and I had is my stepfather was saying you should have stopped shooting when they got out of your house. I disagree with him, as in, for all I know, they're going to their car. They're going to pick up their guns to defend themselves. So I'm like, fuck you. They're on your property. Shoot. Mm-hmm. He was accused of discharging a firearm dangerously because he shot outside of his house. This is the type of system we live in right now. You got guys that are in my house that invaded my space. I defend myself, and you're telling me that I'm in trouble? Like, are you fucking kidding me, asshole? So, and as you just saw, quick research, I had that discussion with a district attorney, with somebody that used to represent the government in those cases. And he told me, he gave me the criminal code. And I was just sitting there. I was reading it. And I came back to him. I'm like, hey, bro, because I used to teach in martial art. And I come back to him. I'm like, hey, bro, hold on here. Am I right here? Or am I at 100% of the mercy of the judge? He's like, yeah. Criminal defense, like self-defense in Canada, not only firearm, just self-defense. Forget the gun part. Self-defense in Canada is 100% dependent on your judge. So that's if wild. The judge likes you, respects what you've done, or whatever, he likes you, he doesn't like you for whatever the fuck reason, this is where, so there's no, oh, you did this, you're good, no problem. No, the judge is that you're at the mercy of the judge. Can you imagine a fucking loud ass mouth like me? I'm fucked. You might as well arrest me right there. There's no fucking way that dude, well, with my chance, it'd be a very liberal woman. She sees me walking through that court, bro.
Oh yeah, like, oh, fuck this guy.
And especially not with the type of content we create, right? Oh, Jesus, I'd be in trouble.
Memorino says, all my life I've been in Canada and now living in my state in the U.S. I obtained conceal and carry. It was extremely liberating. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's one of the reasons I want to live in the U.S. I want to conceal carry. I want to have a firearm on me day in, day out. And it's not because I'm paranoid. It's because I'm aware of what the fuck is out there. My family comes first. I don't give a fuck what people say. If you go after my family, I want to have the tools to defend them. No questions asked. And I'll talk to God afterwards. That's a God-given right to defend myself and my family. No questions.
Yep, I agree with that. So basically the liberals are basically what you would think is kind of seems like they're just quite anti-gun. And I mean, I'm certainly not anti-gun. I certainly don't think there's any need to keep going. It sounds, honestly, I'm not really too familiar with the laws. I believe, broadly speaking, it should be legal to own guns for responsible gun owners. And I do agree that there should be a fairly robust licensing or system. It sounds like there already is one in place. If you have to do all those things that you said you have to do, that's kind of what I meant. You know, a weekend course, maybe a weapons handling. But other than that, if that's already in place, then I absolutely do not think we need anything more than that. And I also believe that you should be allowed to use a fucking gun for home defense.
I couldn't agree with you more. But again, you look at the conservative platform; they don't really go into those details either.
What do
Like
they
they'll
say?
say, they'll say stuff like measures will include mandatory minimum sentences for the criminal use of firearms, strict monitoring of high risk individuals, increased enforcement and protection of smuggling, safe storage provisions, firearms safety training, certification screening process for all those wishing to acquire firearms legally, and putting more law enforcement officers on our street. All things that's already there. Again,
Mm,
this is my biggest gripe. If there's one problem that I have with the conservative, is that they're not pro-gun. They're somewhat pro-gun. They're not
yeah.
really pro-gun. They're just like, guns are okay. They're pandering to their base. They're pro-gun. That's all I see from their platform. And again, Pierre Poilievre is not somebody that will go out and say, I will revoke all the dumb laws that the liberals have put in place over the past 5 years. All the bans that you've seen, I'm going to remove them. Because all you can see, if you look at the past 5 years, the crime rate is going through the roof compared to what it was before. And it's around the same time as people started. It made it so difficult on people like me to obtain more firearms. Because let's not lie to each other. If you know as a criminal that you're the only one with firearms, are you really scared of doing criminal things? Because you know there's no consequences. Because as much as you're not allowed ish to defend yourself in Canada with firearms, I don't know one single gun owner that wouldn't defend their family if shit hits the fan with a firearm, right? We all think the same thing. Yes, we're not technically legally allowed to do it, but put me in a bad situation, and guess what? My family comes first.
Yep.
Let's not lie to each other here, right? Because I'll use a baseball bat, I use a knife, I'll use my hands, I'll use my head, I'll use a fucking book if that helps me, right?
Yep. No, absolutely. And as we've spoken before, when it comes to your family, your wife and your kids, you don't really want proportional force. You want overwhelming force, right? You do not want a fair fight. You want fucking overwhelming force for the guy or guys who are invading your home in the first place. They made that decision.
The only difference between the conservative and the liberals on this goes back to what we were talking about with Kaler yesterday.
Yep.
They're going to stop the bleeding. Nowhere does it say that they're going to make it better for me as a gun owner, but they're not going to get it worse. They're not going to make it worse. That's all I get from the Conservative Party when it comes to guns. They're not going to make it worse. Okay, cool. But all the guns that I can't use anymore, I still can't use them. Awesome.
You don't think that they're going to bring some of those back, or that they think they'll just essentially leave it as it is?
Man, unlike most conservative that are naive, in my opinion, and time might prove me wrong, normally when you're running to become president or to become prime minister, this is where you make all the fucking promises in the world, and then you see them deliver a small portion of those promises. And I think we can agree to that, right? Normally, politicians will promise you the world when they're trying to get your vote. Then you gauge them on did they really deliver or not. If that's the case, which I think most people can agree to that, no matter who your political party is. If that's the case, that means Poilievre's not going to do shit. If all he's promising is that's all you got, that means what? What are you going to do for me? Nothing. That means nothing. Even if you did 100% of what you wrote there, that's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
But people are trying to convince me, and prove me wrong, but people are trying to convince me the complete opposite, that, he's just saying that because he doesn't want to.
I think the stop the bleeding comment probably
in
fits.
the first place, right?
Yeah.
I don't like politicians. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
And what I can see is they're going to promise you the world, but then when they're elected, they don't do what they say. Trump being a very complete opposite of that, and that's what pissing off the left in the US. But I don't see that happening in Canada. I think that he's not going to move the needle. He's just going to stop the bleeding. And is that enough for, I think we're so used to getting our guns removed left, right, and center that if we can keep to the ones that we have right now, we're going to be happy. And this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, I think the stop the bleeding comment probably works. Especially if you're of the mindset that we're heading down the wrong path. I think that probably works for if you're thinking about who to vote for, and really you have to ask yourself if that's enough, if it's enough to stop the bleeding, or if you insist on someone who's going to actually go in the opposite direction.
As Memory Neil said, I spent a lot of my time in the US, and if there's one thing I would love is to be able to conceal carry. I'm trained. I know what I'm doing with a firearm. I would love to be able to have that type of permit. Never going to happen in Canada. But that's one of the beautiful things in the US, though, right?
Yeah. All right. We'll jump on to, we've got some time to do, we should at least discuss immigration, I think. We did yesterday a little bit, but we don't have to spend too much time, just in case anyone didn't see what we were discussing there. So the Liberal platform is, here they do the regular feel good stuff. Canada, the United States is a melting pot. Canada is a mosaic. Many families come here to build better lives. Blah blah blah. All those good things. Now specifically, here they say a little bit of mea culpa here. A little bit of okay, we fucked up. They said, but since the pandemic, the previous federal government, you mean the Liberals, the previous Liberal government. That's funny how they say that, as if they aren't the previous federal government. Has let immigration levels grow at a rapid and unsustainable pace, with our housing and social infrastructure failing to absorb all of the people arriving. This places at risk the bargain Canadians accept of a sustainable intake of newcomers that is consistent with our capacity to welcome them. So it sounds like they have some sense of the issue. The government has a responsibility to those who come here to ensure that they have access to jobs, social services, and housing. Sure, I agree. If we cannot meet those responsibilities, we need to adjust the numbers until we get back on track. So, okay, sounds like they have some recognition of the problem. Now, what do they plan on actually doing about it? Here, their first point: return immigration to sustainable levels by capping the total number of temporary workers and international students to less than 5% of Canada's population. Well, that's still 2 million people. From a past high of 7.3%. So they're doing kind of the same thing as they did with the carbon tax, where they had a unpopular policy and then they remove or reduce that policy and then basically expect to be rewarded for it. Like, you guys are the ones who implemented this policy in the first place, and 2 million people is still a lot. 2 million people a year that are temporary workers. So then they say stabilize permanent resident admissions at 1% of Canada's population annually beyond 2027. Well, that's still 420,000 people or so. And if you are not quite sure how many, that's essentially like the last 3 or 4 years of extremely high Liberal immigration was like 450,000. So it's still basically just more of the same. I'm bringing up a chart here to see what that actually looks like. While I do that, so what does the Conservatives say about immigration? I know they didn't talk about it in the debate, which was kind of disappointing.
There's one thing as I'm going through this document that just blew my mind, something that I want you to check, to do a search in that document to see if they talk about that, because this blows my fucking mind. So basically, like, just the immigration part, they're basically saying that the Conservative Party supports a nonpartisan, welcoming, and well-managed immigration system for Canada based on a fair, transparent, and efficient process that earns the respect and confidence of Canadians as well as the international community.
Why do we care about why do we care about the international community? Like, who cares?
Compassionate measures to assist in family reunification, ensuring that Canada is successful in encouraging skilled immigrants and their spouses and children to make Canada their destination of choice. That I can agree with. Mm-hmm. A clear, workable a clear, workable, and efficient process for immigrants to obtain equivalency for their international skills, training, and experience. Agreed. I agree with that. I think you and I both agree with that.
Yep.
Addressing the need for adequate long-term funding for settlement services providers. The fuck does that mean? Upholding Canada's humanitarian tradition of providing safe havens for refugees. Disagreed. But there's no mention of, I cannot find a percentage. I cannot find a number.
Oh, no, really? They won't even mention the numbers.
Not that I can find, bro.
So
but hold on. No. You want to hear something that I did not know until now that blows my fucking mind?
What's that?
Do you know what? You've heard the expression birthright citizenship, right?
Yep.
It is
Which
part
is
of
if you're born in the country, you're a citizen.
We do not have that in Canada right now. We do not have birthright citizenship in Canada, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. The Conservatives want to put it in place. It is part of their platform. I saw that.
That's weird. I thought if you were born here, you're a citizen.
No. Oh, yeah. So that means that anybody can show up 6 months pregnant and just hide it, and then their kid's born here. No, that's bullshit. So basically here, birthright citizenship. We encourage the government to enact legislation because it does not exist right now. So I'll rephrase that. Birthright citizenship. We encourage the government to enact legislation which will fully eliminate. Oh, shit. I misread it. Okay. Woo. Okay. My bad. No, I agree. Okay. Eliminate birthright citizenship in Canada.
Okay. So I thought it was already in place.
I was going to lose my fucking shit on the Conservative. My bad, Pierre. My bad. You're right. We encourage the government to enact legislation which will fully eliminate birthright citizenship in Canada unless one of the parents of the child is born in Canada, is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. Well, that's not birthright citizenship, in my opinion. Okay. If one of your two parents is a citizen or you're here legally as a permanent resident, fuck, your child should be allowed to stay here too. That only makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, fuck, I was going to throw my fucking mouse in the wall. Like, how the fuck?
That's it.
No, but that is one of them. As soon as we finish this, I would have made content around this. I'm happy that I reread it. Eliminate.
Okay, well,
I agree. We should remove birthright, but I didn't think it was a thing in Canada because I searched it in the past. I didn't. I know the U.S. I know the U.S. has it.
I always thought we did have it.
No, it seems that you are correct. It says in Canada, birthright citizenship, also known as SOLI, SOLI, means that individual born within Canada's territory generally become Canadian citizen at birth, regardless of their parents' citizenship or immigration status. However, there are some exceptions, primarily related to children born to foreign diplomats.
Okay,
that makes sense. That's bullshit. I did not know we had that. Well, live and learn, huh?
So here's the immigration number of the past couple of years. So you can see when the Liberals say that, because as they said, as we read a few minutes ago, they recognize that the last couple of years have been unsustainably high levels. And
what's a couple of years? 2 years?
Well, you can see here these 3 years, these 3 bars are the ones that are really the big outliers from going. And this goes back to, this is 2000, 2001. So 2021 to 22 was 493,236 people. Then we've got 468,000, and then we got 464,000. So Pierre Poilievre's, Carney's 1%, only 1% is 420,000. So if you can look where my pointer is about here, it's right there. It's basically a rounding error. So it's essentially no change to immigration. So it's kind of interesting because they've got, on the one hand, they say, yes, we recognize the last couple of years because, they said post-COVID. And if that chart started, 2021 is about post-COVID. They say it's been too much, but then their solution is to essentially lower immigration by like a couple percentage points, 5% maybe. So it's not really any change. They say it's a change. I guess they just were hoping people didn't do the math. But in any case, essentially the Liberal platform in immigration is no change, even though they explicitly state that it's unsustainable and there's a serious problem.
It's again, it's one of those situations where they just really hope that you're not going to do your own
Yeah,
research.
that's exactly
That's what
it
it comes down to. And as much as I agree that they need to get rid of that birthright citizenship, that should not exist in Canada. That's the only thing that I actually like about the conservative platform, because they don't really, although they say all the blah blah, like we should have more skilled workers and all that shit, but I'm sure the liberal would say the exact same thing.
Yeah, they do.
Nobody's saying we want to have the degenerate homeless
Yeah.
people from other countries, although they
That's
act
that
like
in
that.
practice. In practice, that seems to be what happens. But they
But
won't
they're not
say
going to
that.
say it.
They won't
No,
say
no,
it.
no.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that he has said, as in Polyev has said in the past, that he wants to keep it around 250K.
Yeah.
But
Which
it's not
is
in his
lower.
platform. Which
yeah,
but
it's still
okay.
pretty
So
high.
yeah, it's not low enough. It
Mhm.
is not low enough. But I don't know what's so hard for somebody to say, just like Maxime Bernier is saying, let's put a stop to immigration for a
Just
year.
put a pause for a year or two.
Let's review. Let's see how much it actually costs us. And during that year, how about we look at all the people that overstayed their welcome, that are still here in Canada, go after them, make sure to extradite them to wherever they came from. Let's check the people that are still here legally, students, permanent residents. Are they acting the way we want our Canadian population to act?
Yep.
No, send them back home. So we need to take time. And, Sylvie, immigration should stop until further notice.
Yeah.
I agree until we can. I want that assessment to be done. I want people to get reviewed. As if I'm as a legal gun owner, my name runs into 2 different databases every day, and I have less right than a convicted pedophile. Why is it that we're not treating our guests the same way? I'm a Canadian. I was born here, but because I own firearms, I need to be under the microscope all the time. You know what? Okay, I totally disagree, but let's say I agree. Devil's advocate. Why are we not doing the same thing with the people that we welcome, that are visitors, that are guests in our country? Why? Why would it be racist for me to say that, but it's okay to do it to me? Right?
Yep. That's hard to argue with. So Sylvie says it would take way more than a year. Yeah.
So
probably.
lock it up for 4. At the end of the day, cut foreign aid, stop helping other countries, reinvest the money here. If you're scared about skilled workers that we're not going to have enough, no problem. How about you stop foreign aid, the $20 billion, for example, that we've given to Ukraine, and start putting development programs out there for people that want to go after high-paying jobs, but that can't afford to quit their low-paying jobs right now because they have a family to support. Why not take that money, put some programs into place where those people can go study, build new trade, instead of taking them from other country while we do a reassessment? Block the fucking borders for 4 years, reinvest all that money into the people, let them develop their fucking skills while you make assessment of who should stay there, who should stay here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just a fucking bald-headed fuck, and I can think about that on off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Tell me that we don't have way smarter people than me that can figure out what we need to do. Bullshit, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's hard to argue with. I think on that note,
that's another one. But that's another one that I agree with. 100%.
Oh yeah, if you're not a citizen, yeah, absolutely, you shouldn't have any. I mean, if you go through the process and you're a citizen, yeah, I think they should have the same as all Canadians.
Oh,
but
of course, they're citizen.
Yeah, but if you're not, then absolutely.
Why are you here? Why are you fucking here? I can't go to the US and start taking care of their social services.
No, nor should you be able to.
No, fuck no.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Agreed, absolutely.
Man. Could not agree more.
Is there something about cutting taxes? Because that is the other.
I don't know. I looked everywhere and I didn't see a thing. I'll search the document right now.
Do a Control F tax on there, because that is one of the biggest thing that there's 2 things that the conservative platform has is reducing the deficit by 70%. They don't provide the plan as to how they're going to balance the budget, but that is one of the things that they talk about. They want to reduce our deficit by 70%, which it should be a lot more than that, but They want to do that, and they also want to cut a couple of taxes. So they want to remove carbon tax in full, not just reducing the consumer part, which I don't think anybody can disagree with. Lower personal income tax from 15% to 12.75%. That's obviously on the federal side, and in Quebec, you're going to get fucked on both sides because they have a provincial income tax as well.
Yeah.
Remove the capital gain tax hike and taxes on investment in Canada, whatever the fuck that means. Like, what's the numbers here? We don't know all those details. Remove the GST on all new homes that cost less than $1.3 million. I don't like the new homes. Why does it need to be a new home? If I buy a used home, like a used home, if I buy
a non-new home, I guess.
But yeah, whatever the fuck. If I buy a used, that's funny. I've never. How the fuck?
But it's true. Yeah, most homes are used. Secondhand home. Secondhand home.
I buy a secondhand home, but I still need to pay the GST on it. So that to me is bullshit because you're only applying to new houses. Is there that many new houses that are below $1.3 million? There's probably not that many. He also wants to introduce the Taxpayers Protection Act. This would ban the introduction of new or higher federal taxes without Canadian first voting on them in a referendum style voting.
That's interesting.
So no new taxes unless the people have voted on it. What a concept. What a fucking concept that is, right? Wow.
Yeah. No, the Liberal plan doesn't really talk about anything. They say like once or twice, we want to lower taxes for hardworking Canadians, but like that's all they don't ever discuss specifically how it's just, I mean, it makes sense if you understand like their spending program is what, $130 billion of new spending. You can't do that if you're going to cut taxes.
No, wasn't it 220?
I think it was 225 overall and 130 in new spending. Some of it was I think that the 130 is like supposedly like new capital spending. The rest is like just operating costs.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
If I start a new business, my capital money should be spent on building the business and operation cost. They're so full of shit.
Yeah, a lot of it's just word salad. Just being
they think we're fucking idiots. They think we're idiots.
Yep.
The other thing about taxes from the conservative platform that I found interesting, because I'm not sure what the fuck that means, but remove the escalator tax on alcohol and the planned food packaging tax on fresh produce that could raise costs up to 30%. So an escalator tax, I forgot about that. Like, I'm not an escalator tax on alcohol. How is that? Alcohol is so not one of my problems. Like, for the amount of time that I drink alcohol,
I could not care less. I could not care less about that. Like, I guess if people do.
I don't know what the fuck that is, right?
Yeah. It's not on my radar screen. But yeah, I mean, so we've certainly gone through some of the key issues. So you can see as a platforms, there are some differences. There are definitely some key differences. I think, as you were saying yesterday, certainly the speeches is not quite as clear. When you hear them talk, it's not quite as clear that there are some differences. Hopefully if you guys are followed along this whole way, you've gotten sort of some of the differences between them. I think overall, there's probably not that much separation. Certainly not the kind of separation you'd see in the States between the Democratic platform and a Republican platform. If it's, obviously, I think you personally feel it's not quite enough separation. I think there's probably, I would say, a common feeling out there especially among conservatives, that it's because that's a pretty common critique you hear of Poilievre. I think that he has he's intentionally moved to the left because he was expecting to go against Trudeau, and that clearly, there would have been a bigger separation if Trudeau was still in power. But fuck, what is it? Today's Wednesday, so we've got 4 days. 4 days left to go to the polls.
We're Thursday, right? Not Wednesday.
Oh yeah, so it's the 24th today.
Yeah, and the 28th.
Election is 28th.
days,
Yeah, so
bro.
4 days. Yeah.
But there's not much difference, man. It's yes, he's talking about axing the tax. Sure. He's talking about, I think the biggest difference is the energy production. That is, if I had to pick one single thing that they seem to really, really disagree on, is the way we create, we don't take advantage of our oil and gas. How, and see, this is, if you had to vote, if you're in Alberta, and I know what he's doing, like he's caring for Alberta on that one, which I totally understand why you would, because Alberta's been getting fucked up the ass for years of Liberal Party, like for at least 10 years.
Yep.
But I'm still blown that this is the biggest difference between the two, is the infrastructure and the way we deal with energy. Like his gun platform's bullshit. His tax cut is bullshit. Like, you're going to remove 2%, 2.25%, and remove you're going to remove the carbon tax. Sure, that's great. It shouldn't be there in the first place, but that's it. That's the best you got.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your difference. Is we're not going to get worse on guns. We are going to be better on energy, which is great. And we're going to somewhat remove some of your taxes. That's it. It's great. It's fucking, and we're going to somewhat defund the CBC. Somewhat.
Kind of. Maybe, sort of.
Yeah, man, I wish he would have had the balls to just say that he will do a Doge department. He will go through all the departments and the way the money is spent.
Yeah.
But he can't do that because he would have never gotten elected because of the sheer amount of public servants that we have in Canada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's true. Eh?
Oh, yeah. It's something like, I think, what was it, like 18%?
That's
of Canadian workers work for the government, for whatever, how many Canadians work for government. It was insane. You are looking right now, as of March 31st, 2024, the Federal Public Service is Canada's employment of 367,000 people.
Yeah.
This represents a new high in the number of federal workers. Yeah, that means
you have to expect they're going to protect their jobs, for sure.
Give or take 400,000 people. We are 40 millions. That means 1% of work. So 1% of the full population of Canada works for the government, but it's a lot more than that, because people that are below 18 don't work, and people that are above 65, 70, 80 are not the one working either. So you're looking at a massive amount of people work for the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
That is, bro, like, of course he can't go. This is one issue that I can understand, that he can't go out and just say, you know what, that's not, but that's just the federal. It's not the provincial, it's not municipal. So we have way too many government workers in Canada, so we can't say Doge, but we need that. Like, we need a Doge. We need to go through government spending, making sure that it's.
I don't see how that should be controversial. Like, there's nothing wrong with going, looking at how the government is spending money and trying to cut waste and corruption. Every government has it. It's not. It's just the nature of government. There's nothing. It's not saying that like everybody's corrupt or anything like that. It's just go through it line by line. Make sure the money spent is where it's supposed to go. Simple.
How dare you?
I know.
How
right?
dare you?
So I'm far right. I'm just such a far right Nazi.
You know, I'm really tired of your racism and sexism. You and I really need to have a conversation about this.
Yeah, I know. It's getting out of control. It seems that way, though. It seems like there are people who will make those kind of accusations based on literally what I just said.
Unfortunately, you're a white guy. You don't have an opinion.
Yeah. Sit in the corner, and just let the women of color and all of my betters will speak for me. So he says Robbie is so radical. Yes,
Robbie, I love how she brings that back. Thank you for all the ways.
Never gonna let that go. Never gonna let that go.
Nor should she. This is the beauty of women. They don't fucking forget.
They never forget. They're like elephants. Never forget. All right, guys. Yeah, I think hopefully you've got a little more insight into what some of the both sides are thinking on where they stand on each issue. As always, you could have been anywhere in the world today. You chose to be here with us, and we will always appreciate that. I think that we're getting closer to Election Day, and if you recall, we're going to do a special live debate election results. We're going to cover that as it comes in. And Sylvie says it's a little late to the party today, but glad I caught you in the show. No worries, Sylvie. As long as you got here at the end, and that's all that matters. But other than that, guys, thank you for being here. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about what each party stands for, and we will see you tomorrow.
Peace.